All right, guys, top of the morning. Happy January 23rd, coming to you live, coming to you well, coming to you full of energy, as well as full of things for us to share, to talk about, and to dive right into today. If any of you have tried to buy a car in the last couple of years, please raise your hand. It is one of my least favorite things to ever do in my life. I was going to try Carvana. I was going to try something else, but I'm trying to get what is called a push present for my wife. I didn't even know that was a thing, but now I have a pregnant wife, and I guess the push present is a thing. So I'm trying to get my wife a Tahoe, and I went yesterday. I had a substantial down payment, not too crazy, but I had a really good down payment. And I walked for 2 G's. They were unwilling to negotiate with me over 2 G's. And I'm like, all right, we could split the difference here. They were unwilling to do that. So Kelly, you might want to ask your husband if he has a 2004 or 2005 Tahoe RST. That's what I'm looking for. It has to be white. But anyways, we can talk about that later. So you guys, that's the least favorite thing to do. But listen, I held firm, and then I ended up walking, and I was waiting for them to say, hold on, Elias, hold on. But they didn't. So sometimes you just got to walk and you got to go do something else. So I'm in the market for a car for my wife, and I just don't enjoy that process, but I do enjoy negotiating. So anyways, just thought I'd share that with you. We're going to kick this thing off. I got a lot of thoughts for you guys this morning. Got a lot of things that I want to share, and I want to go right into the conversation. But before we do so, per usual, I'm going to have somebody bring us out on the field and set the tone and set the sentiment. And that person, since she is middle of the screen and her camera is on, blessing, it's going to be you. But I was thinking that if you were going to bring us out on the field on this amazing day, maybe you should do it under the blanket. But if you don't have the blanket, let's just run right now and let's get this thing going. I tell you what, that series, if you continue that series, I promise you that series is going to do really good, and it's already proven to be effective. So let's roll, big dog.
You know that I had it as an idea, but it was, speaking of, it was Kenny. It was the fact that Kenny asked me a question about it. And then at the How dinner, so many people came up and were saying, oh my goodness, I love your stuff. This is great. This is so funny. And I think the message, even to tie into right now, is stop overthinking, guys. Like, just post it. Just do it, because people really, really want to hear from you. They want to understand you, but I think the more freeing thing is that I'm getting to have fun with something that I've overcomplicated. And now that we just let it flow, and you just post the video, you make the recording, you post the story, you shake hands, kiss babies out in public, and it just solidifies everything that you're doing. Because in this space, we can bounce ideas off of each other. But when we go out and we meet those consumers in our community, they are watching. And so many people came up to me on Tuesday that has never interacted. I didn't even know that they were watching, but they commented on just about everything I had posted. So put it out there. If you're hesitating, you're just doing yourself a disservice. Just post the video, put the weird green screen out there. You may not feel 100% confident, but it's the start that you need to get to confidence. So just do it. You're not going to die. Just post it.
That's right, my friend. That's right. I appreciate that, and I love that. And the great thing about this is that she's an intensity. It doesn't give her much time to think and much room to think. It's just like, I have to take action. It's going to be imperfect, but it's going to be consistent, or else I can't be a part of this program. And so what I'm seeing is that all this great stuff is coming, and you're not overthinking it. You're just doing, and look at the results.
Yeah, it's fun. There is no time to think. You just have to get it.
All right, guys. So I got some thoughts prepared for everybody. Obviously, welcome to Action Friday. If you are new to Keep It Moving, thank you, Tanner, for being here, and anybody else that's a guest. In this space, we believe in the power of the collective wisdom. Throw your hands up, get involved, share your thoughts, insights. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has a contribution. You see, my hope and my intention from our sessions is that you take away one thing that you can go and apply in your life, business, health, and relationships. That's the intention of group coaching. Now, if you're coming to group coaching and you are actually taking action afterwards, then congratulate you. If you're not, I want to challenge you. After every single session, what was the one thing, and how can you go and apply that instantly after coaching? And I have some thoughts about where we are in society and where we are in our business. You see, I believe that there is this push and pull with digital versus analog, and I want to stay with this conversation for a minute. And I'm not talking about technology. What I want to talk about is the ability to go back to go back into true sales skills. I believe that over the last 5 years, some people have gotten really soft with their sales skills. They've gotten really soft in their ability to literally ask for the appointment. Somewhere along the way, people said, well, I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to push too much. Well, my friends, most of that is an internal thing. Most of that is things that you're feeling and the consumer is not feeling that. And so what I want to encourage everybody to do, and this is going to be things that we're going to be talking about over the course of the next few months. What I want you to start to analyze is how you are writing. I want you to think about the language. Just look at your last 15 emails. This is a really good place to start. Look at your database, and we're going to talk about your database in a minute. Look at the language that you were using. And you need to ask yourself, do you have a voice of being very timid? Or are you soft in your language? Do you have an authoritative tone? What is the language saying in your writing? Because what I'm seeing, and I'm looking at the database and I'm reviewing the database. And if I could search keywords in the database and say, let me know, just checking in, touching basis, what I'd find is I'd find countless amounts of those types of messages. So I want you to analyze 15 of your last emails and ask yourself, am I being very, very timid and very soft in my language? Or am I actually analyzing every single time I go to make a call? I'm auditing that call and saying, how can I move that call one step further to the bottom of the funnel? You see, what we're doing is we're playing it loose. We're playing it soft. And maybe you want to let me know, kind of maybe if you want to do a buyer consultation, possibly let me know. Like all these words, you guys, that are soft. What I want you to do is not be afraid to be an incredible salesperson. You see, oftentimes we have a negative connotation of what sales actually means. Here's a bad salesperson. A bad salesperson is talking to a client. The client says, yeah, I would love to meet you. Wonderful. Is your husband going to be on the call? No, I can take that call with you. No, I'd rather talk to both of you. That's weak, right? That's weak. That's a bad salesperson. A bad salesperson is this. A bad salesperson will not tell you to walk away from a house. How many of you have ever told a client not to buy a home? I've told somebody not to buy a home before because it didn't pencil out. There was too much work to be done. Even though they loved that house, I told them to walk from that house. That's a great salesperson. You see, a great salesperson knows how to communicate effectively. They know how to listen actively, and they know how to lead and continuously push that person through the sales funnel. They take action and they use authoritative words. They're not, let me know, does that sound good? Would you like to? These are all words that are not serving you in your communication. You guys, I'm looking at this in the database. I'm looking at consumers that are looking at houses. And then you guys, and I'm not going to call out anybody on the call, you guys are saying this. Wanted to check in to see if there's any houses that you would like to see. Let me know if you need any information about any homes in the Berkeley area. Hold on a second. If you audited it and you looked at their recent activity, they just looked at a home 9 hours ago. But your communication was something that was loose. So my advice, my encouragement, and my push for each of you is stop asking permission. We need to stop asking for permission. People are either leaders or they're followers. And it's okay in this instance, in these cases with your buyers. We need to lead them through this. Here, we're going to walk over here, close that door. We're going to do this. This is the next step. This is the logical next conclusion, right? And I want you to think about not only your speech patterns and the language and how you write. The next thing I want you to analyze is, how are you asking for certain things that are going to move the consumer down when you're in person with those consumers? And I'll give you an example. I was talking to an agent yesterday, and her book a meeting from a meeting rates are really, really low. And so I said, tell me how you book for a buyer's consultation. She says, okay, well, and as soon as she said the first word, her right shoulder dropped a little bit. And stay with me on this, you guys. It is the smallest of nuances that work to show your sense of authoritative posture and your sense of being a true leader. Her shoulder dropped a little bit. She said, well, and her voice went down and her voice went like soft and it got amiable. And so she's almost like, would you like to? And her posture, shoulders were in. She held her arm like this. So this arm was under like this. Her whole physiology and her demeanor gave a reason for a consumer to say, nah, I don't want to do that. Okay. And then what did she say? Well, just let me know. I'm going to send you some homes and let me know if you see any homes that you want to go and take a look at to know more information. What we're doing is we're putting ourselves in a position to be subservient. We're putting ourselves in a position that our body language says that I'm not confident to take you to the next step. And so what I want you guys to do is I want you to check your language, check your verbal communication, check your written communication, and then I want you to check your physiology. When you are asking for a buyer consultation, I want you to think about this nuance. When you're asking for a buyer consultation, where are your hands? How are you standing? Where's your chin? Where are your shoulders? Where's your chest? Are you shrinking in the moment when you ask? And then your words are shrinking in the moment. And then what are the results? But when you're confident, you are clear. Here's what we are doing next. This is why this is so important. Ross, you told me that it's important for you to know everything that you possibly need to know about the buying process, and you are framing it, right? And it's important for you to feel completely protected as a buyer in this market, correct? Wonderful. Since it's so important to you, Ross, this is what we do next. Right? So when you frame it like that, when you put it in a way that it's like, oh yeah, it is important to us. We want to feel protected. Wonderful. Since it's so important to you, Ross, here's what we do next. I want you guys to check yourself right now and over the course of the next couple of weeks. What is your posture? What does your physiology look like when you're asking for the next stage in the sales process? Then I want you to analyze your language. If there is so's, maybe, if, possibly, would you? Does that sound okay? Wash all that out. Wash it all out and replace it with, this is what we're doing. This is why it's important. Here's what we do next. And here's how we're going to move forward. Replace it with words that are not tentative. I see too much of this tentative talk. And what's happening is that we're not closers. You see, I want to get back to the analog. The analog is you being closers, being salespeople. And listen, that's what you signed up for. And if you don't have an escrow right now, you are unemployed. If you don't have an escrow right now, today, you are unemployed. So you got to go to work. You got to go to work. And is sales hard? Absolutely. But when you start the process, when you get people in the flow, when somebody says yes, that lights you up and it feels good. So I want to encourage you guys to analyze all the things that you're doing, posture, physiology, written, verbal communication, and see where am I missing people. And I promise you, and we're going to talk about your database. If you go back into your database and you start to read the things that you're writing, you're not getting to the point. Stop sending these check-in emails. Start asking this over and over and over again. I saw that you were looking at 123 Main Street. I'm setting up my VIP tour for today and tomorrow. What time do you want to go take a peek? That's it. Run that route over and over and over again. Or you can follow up with good news or bad news. Good news about the market. Some things just shifted, put you in a great position. We'd love to have a further conversation about the market with you. Bad news. That house that you saw on 123 Main Street got into contract. I want to tell you what they got in contract price for, because it will prepare us for our next strategy. Cool. Like, those are really, really good things to talk about versus, hey, Tom, just want to check in to see if you've seen any houses that you'd like to go take a peek. They just saw a house. They just looked at it in the database, and you're asking a question that is completely in left field because you don't want to push. My friends, push. Push. Because broke salespeople have skinny children. And I say that with all due respect. My early mentor used to tell me that. So I want you guys to embrace and restore the dignity of being great salespeople. It is okay to be a wonderful salesperson. I will rock that flag until the end of the earth. Restore the dignity of being great salespeople. So I'm going to pause for a second. I want to get your guys' thoughts, get your insight. I'm going to take you through some framework today, but I want to get your guys' thoughts, insights on the conversation thus far. Throw your hands up, get involved in the conversation. Christina, what do you have for us, my friend?
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually been implementing this a lot more intentionally lately, especially on text messages, which then roll into my phone conversations with clients. So like when I'm texting someone, I will literally see it. I'm like, no, I will remove the maybe, or do you think, or anything that's causing showing my own insecurity, my own almost doubt that I'm putting on that text message. I'm removing those words entirely. And now it's also helping me from when I'm speaking, doing that same thing intentionally. So I would say definitely like practicing that when you see yourself texting a client, remove that do you think. That's huge. The other thing too that I've noticed for me, when I'm talking to a client, a consult, a follow-up of a pre-approval, I have to walk. I cannot sit at my desk and like fully think to my full capacity my like emotions. It's almost like I have all this built up. I can't just sit like this. You guys will never see me on the phone just sitting. I'm walking around my desk, walking around my computer, walking around, and it really just gets the things flowing, and you will also feel a lot more confident. Like I'm always talking with my hands. I'm doing this even on these calls. It's just like it's everything that you're thinking in your mind will come out in your body. And so I would definitely recommend, if you are a person that will sit at their desk all day and do follow-ups, get up and move around. It will make you feel a lot better. And you also will have so much more confidence because you're walking, your shoulders are up, your posture, and you're speaking with confidence. And that's where the consumer is going to trust and believe in you.
You guys, motion creates emotion, right? Motion creates emotion. I remember reading that book back in the days. It was You Say More Than You Think You Say. It's a book all about body language and physiology and how we carry ourselves. There's so many things that are happening that are the smallest of nuanced moments that's going to show the consumer that you are a leader or you do not know what you are doing. And I want you guys to have the power. And I'm not saying manipulative power. I want them to feel like they are with an expert. They are with a leader, they are with a teacher, and this person's going to guide me through everything I need to know. Thank you for holding my hand and walking me through this.
And just oh, sorry, I wanted to add to that too, because a lot of times clients are nervous. That's why maybe they're a little slower on moving forward. They have those own insecurities that if you are showing that you're nervous, they're going to be like, oh, maybe this isn't like the right decision, right? They need to have like you as either your lender, as a lender or a realtor need to be like their partner in this. Even if they do have a partner in their house, they need to feel that confidence in you helping them to also get them out of their own self-doubt.
Yeah, Christina, I really appreciate that. The moment that I asked that agent yesterday, tell me how you asked for the buyer consultation, and instantly, her shoulder dropped just a little bit and she held her arm like this. It tells me that in that moment, she is so fearful of asking because the rejection's coming. She's so fearful. Listen, any of you can go open the door, any of you. But can you be skilled enough to walk them through the sales process and to the logical next step? And so much of that, right? You guys, if I was here on this call, what's up, you guys? Top of the morning, welcome to Keep It Moving. You know, dreams, goals, vision, just stoked to be here with you guys. Where am I every single time? My frame is so intentional, right? Every single thing, you guys. So I want you to be mindful of these little nuances. This plays obviously a factor with your buyers, but it plays a factor in your listing presentations as well. David, what do you have for us, big dog? And then Joanna, you're going to bring us up, bring up the rear. Let's go, David.
My takeaway from that was, I think I'm just trying to be too friendly because I'm not trying to be overly pushy. And I guess that's like saying like, hey, just checking in, doing all that is just, I'm trying to be friendly. So I'm not that pushy salesperson. But after this takeaway, it's like, I don't care anymore. I need you to tell me to stop being pushy. And then we got to go from there.
You guys, I believe in restoring the power and the dignity of being amazing salespeople. I am where I am in my career because I've been a great salesperson, and I will continue to be a great salesperson. I know how to connect. I know how to build rapport, ask great questions, and set logical next conclusions or logical next steps, and set a very, very clear path for our people. That's what I do. And that is sales, my friends. Let's go, Joanna. What do you have?
It's so funny that I showed up this morning. It's just pure, the universe is doing its thing, because I have been thinking about the same question for a very, very long time. And I know that I do it just because I feel like I'm being polite. Again, I don't want to be pushy, but then in December, I showed my buyers a few houses, and at the end, I'm like, well, just let me know whenever you're ready. Tell me what you think about the house. Again, I didn't want to be overly pushy, but what I realized is they came to me because they need someone to give them that little bit of a push. They're on the edge of making a decision. If I'm not pushing them in the right direction, and through conversation with them, through understanding their needs and wants, I should be able to make that expert decision for them to say, hey, based on what you've told me, this is the direction that you should go in. But because I didn't, and I'm afraid I'm going to push them away, they're still kind of like wishy-washy. And if I'm also this wishy-washy person, then nothing's going to get done. They'll probably go to a different agent that pushes them towards the right direction, that are aligned with their needs and wants.
Yeah, Joanna, I'm really, really glad that you're here. So glad that you're here because listen, these leads that we get and potential lead opportunities, they might be a lead for somebody else as well. They might be on Redfin, they might be on realtor.com, they might have been a referral to somebody else. And so who is going to be the person that takes them through the sales process appropriately? Is that going to be you or is that going to be somebody else? I'm not going to be fearful of me doing my job. My job is to get you into a home and educate you and advocate for you and lead you through this process. Aren't you excited to work with somebody that is going to take the helm? And that's the type of energy that I want you guys to have. So it's like, when we think about this energy, our posture, our language, how we write, they all coincide with confidence. They all coincide with confidence. I'm confident about my ability to take you through the sales process. So I appreciate your contribution, Joanna. Let's go to Brandy, just in your fur coat, right off the runway. Let's roll, my friend. What do you got for us?
I took the sunnies off. I'm inside now, but so many good takeaways and points. And the biggest one of all is when you said, stop waiting for permission. And that has kind of been the lead of my year. And also how Blessing even started off the message today is overthinking. That all goes hand in hand with asking for permission, overthinking, and it boils down to my main word this year of execute. And thinking on the topic of permission, I'm somebody that gets Zillow leads, but regardless of how somebody gets to you, you got to think they came to you. Whether they pressed the Zillow button, whether they commented on your Instagram, whether you reached out and did follow up on Intensity, doing your DMs and videos, or however they came to you, and they're pretty much asking for more information, whether or not you're going to get them into a home, whether or not you're going to pre-approve them, whether or not you're giving them educational information, they're coming to you for something. So yeah, why are we waiting for permission? We need to act like we are the best person that is in their life in that moment to give them what they need.
God, you guys, listen, and Bless, I'm going to get to you in a moment. Really analyze this. I want you to analyze this. Analyze every single thing that you're doing with posture, body language. Look at your written communication, your verbal communication. And I want you to really think about that. Even this tonality. When you think about how you're emphasizing words, when you ask for a buyer consultation and you set that clear next step, I'm going to overemphasize lip movement. My words are clear, they are direct, they are concise, and there is no room for misinterpretation. Here's what we are doing next. I'm literally overemphasizing my lip movement to make sure that my message carries home. Brandy, I appreciate you. Blessing, what do you got for us, big dog?
Yeah, I wanted to there's a difference between being kind and being nice. And nice will keep you broke because nice is maintaining the status quo and being pleasurable and just keeping everything the same. You're not really guiding anyone. Think of it like the limp handshake. Nobody really wants that. It's a gesture. But to be nice means that you're just there to basically be in the experience. But being a kind person means that your character is kind, you're generous, you're supportive. It's who you are intrinsically, which means that when you have to deliver bad news or point someone away from something that they're possibly settling with, or ask them to, for the close, even if it feels uncomfortable, you do the right thing because at the end of the day, you're leading with kindness, you're leading with character. So there is that that portion that phrase has been on repeat for the past couple of weeks. It's like, am I a nice person or am I a kind person? Nice people stay broke. Matthew McConaughey just said that too. So just kind of to distinguish the two.
I love it. Really, really good stuff, Blessing. You guys, let's get right into this. I saw a video yesterday and I transcribed that video and I thought it was really powerful. So I just want to share this with you. I'll drop the link so you guys can check out this video. But in the video, it states that there's a version of yourself that you've never walked in before. There's a version of yourself that you've never walked in before. It's just like a new pair of shoes or new clothes. You got to break them in. They're a little too crunchy right now. You, my friends, are too crunchy right now. Just give it a minute. Keep doing it. Keep putting in the reps and watch what unfolds with it. Because I guarantee you, you will be way more proud of yourself if you stick with it than if you fucking quit in the next 20 minutes or 2 days or 2 minutes. You guys, some of you are just too crunchy. You're not doing enough. You got to break these things in. You got to do the reps. You got to do the heavy lifting. And then I promise you, things will start to unfold in your life, business, health, and relationships. This is not theory. This has been tested over and over and over again. So let's get into some of our framework. And I'm glad that Brandy brought up the word execution. Execution tells the truth. It tells the truth on what you're willing to do and what you're willing to commit to in your business. And here's a formula that I want to take you through. What I need everybody on this call to do is I want you, after this call, I want you to go into your database. Some will and some will not. That is your prerogative. The ones that truly want to make money in this business and want to provide for themselves and make an impact, they will do this. You see, I want you to go into your database and let's just commit to 1 hour, right? 1 hour. Now, I know you guys all have things going on, but let's say you did 1 hour. Typically, you say, okay, I'm going to make calls in that 1 hour. Well, what's the reality of you actually getting somebody on the call? It's really slim. So every single time that you go into the database and that you can analyze consumer behavior, you see that the Andersons have seen a property in the last 48 hours. All I want you to do is I want you to do a 4-to-1. A 4-to-1 is this. I'm going to call. Then I'm going to text that same message. Then I'm going to send an email with the same exact message. And then I'm going to send a video. A 4-to-1 for every single prospect in your hour of power. So, hey, Tom, I noticed that you just looked at 123 Main Street. I'm setting up my VIP tours for today and tomorrow. Let me know what time you want to go take a look. Okay, that's one. The text message is the same exact thing. Hey, Tom, I noticed that you were just looking at 123 Main Street. I'm setting up my VIP tours for today and tomorrow. What time do you want to go take a peek? Then I send that email, and in the subject line is the address, and it is a hook. 123 Main Street, house on a hill, house with a pool, price reduction of $6,000. Hi, Brandy. I noticed that you just looked at this property. Insert the link. I'm setting up my VIP tours for today and tomorrow. What time do you want to go take a peek? I did all of that, 4-to-1. And so when you think about the math, like just think about the math, you guys, let's just get mathematical with this. Let's say every single day you go into the database and you do this 20 times. 20 times 4, you guys do the math, that is 80. Now, if we did that times 5 times, that is 400 attempts for 1 week. Now, if we times that by 52 weeks, now obviously you're not going to work every single week, but just stay with me on the whole number here. That's 20,800 touches. Now, on top of all the other things that you're doing, door knocking, all the other things that you're doing with intensity or whatever program you're a part of, your social media posts, your sphere, your events, your home buyer workshops, you guys, I like these averages for you. But what we do is we'll go into the database, we'll have squirrel moments, we won't even focus for that full hour, and we won't even get through 10, 15 people. If you can commit hell or high water to do a 4-to-1 mentality, check your language, check your tone, ask yourself, are these words timid, or is this clear direction on that's going to move the clients through the funnel? And I promise you, if you do this, you're going to get more engagement. It's inevitable. The numbers alone are going to get you more engagement. Questions, thoughts, insights on the conversation on that vein. I would love to get you guys' thoughts, contributions, and insight. Anybody have anything? Going once, going twice, and don't be quiet on me. 3 times. Moving on? All right, cool. Let's do this, you guys. How many of you are doing a similar, was that D? D Bledsoe, what do you got for us? And Blessing, I'm going to have you take over for 1 second.
Oh, I just wanted to chime in. Work until it works. Obviously, the more touches, the more work, and the more it will work. So, I mean, this is all common sense to me. I'm not going to lie like I do my follow up this extensively, but it's for sure a takeaway that I can implement to try to get better results.
And thank you for sharing your motto. If I can put you back on the spot, how long have you been? And yes, we did. We do see the Grammy jacket. Demian, how long have you been in the business and working until it works?
This is year 10 for me coming up in August, and yeah, I'm still figuring it out. But being that it is year, somebody asked me the other day, once we got into the conversation about real estate, it was a barber that I was walking past while I was doing telephone poles. I was posting my flyers, and I handed this barber one, and he was like, "How's real estate?" And I was like, "It's cool, you know, ups and downs is good, though I wouldn't do anything else." And he was like, "How long have you been in it?" I'm like, 10 years. And he was like, "So it's cool?" I was like, "Well, I mean, 10 years, that might suggest that is pretty good." Um, so yeah, it's always a experience. It's always something to learn in this business, especially working for yourself. Um, but it's always a chance to up your game, which is interesting and keeps it interesting.
Man, I love that. Blessing. Appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Let's get right into this, you guys. Obviously, this is Action Friday. We talk about action, things that have moved the needle in the business. This is not a weekend review. This is a results briefing. Everyone speaks in facts, not feelings. I want you guys to share what's working and what's not working, and I want us to operate in truth. And so let's do some pattern recognition here based on just this week. What's working and what's leaking in your business? Where did effort compound this week? And where did it stall? And listen, I want to remind you where you are, where and keep it moving. I want you guys to get involved in this conversation. Be honest, throw your hands up. I don't want to be reaching for people to get involved in the conversation. So I need 2 people to get involved, throw their hand up and answer this question. What's working just this week? Just look back at this week, and what's leaking, meaning the things that you have not focused on. And where did effort compound, or where did your effort stall? You can go either way on this. So Otis, what do you got for us, big dog? Let's roll.
I sent out a message to my entire database. It was for buyers and sellers. It was a mixed message to try to entertain, to get them back to talking to me. So I let them know that, hey, I know that we didn't talk during the holidays, and, for whatever reason, we were spending more time with loved ones and getting the proper love we needed to move into 2026. But now is the time to start those conversations again. I'm loaded up. I have all types of assistance for you, all type of programs. So now is the time for you to at least have that conversation. And for you sellers out there, markets are starting to rebound, rates are going down, prices are going up. So I just wanted to reach out to have a conversation, putting that out there. I got about 10 people to reach back. I got 3 people to start the pre-approval process just this week alone. So just kind of iterating that. And then a lot of them were Zillow buyers. So, I made a comic book strip to pretty much explain how we are partnered with Zillow, the ZH loan part about it, and pretty much, something that even a child could follow on, like, hey, whenever you're looking, I'm watching, all these type of things just to let them know. So someone said, hey, did you see that house I like? So just the small things, going back to the basics, are something that I found out that I've been doing the basics for weeks, but just some small little text and verbiage of giving something to at that has worked tremendously for me.
Wonderful, man. Appreciate a great contribution. Cece, what do you have for us, my friend? Good to see you on camera. Thanks for being here. Let's roll. What do you got for us?
So I was working on my calls, and I have 2 events coming up. One is kind of casual social coffee event. The other one is like for investors. We're walking through a property. I have a new listing coming up. And I called everybody, and I got to like my 50 calls, and I'm like on call 39. I'm like, yes, it's working. And on call 10, I'm like, oh, this sucks. So I feel like you ride the roller coaster. But I just, I wasn't interested in like what I wanted, as opposed to like, I want to provide value. Like, is it valuable for you to have a low-key conversation, or do you want to see what people are doing? And then taking out like the pressure of that, because I had called like past clients too who like already own property. I'm like, can you share with some of the new clients that I have, like what the issues have been that you've gone through when you did get a house that was, too cheap and a lot of work? So I feel like being able to just provide, like, people want to help out, if they get the opportunity, but maybe they're like, oh, I don't want to buy right now. I'm like, oh, well, I have a client that is coming to this networking event. I'd love to have you, available if you can come. And they're like super excited about it. So I'm looking forward to that coming up.
I love this. I love this. Cece, I appreciate your contribution. Let me say this and be very, very clear. Oftentimes, the worry that you have about the phone call, the door knocking, the dropping of a video, all of that worry, that is literally it's self-induced. People are out there waiting for someone to share great information and provide value. There's people out there that have less talent than you that are out there taking more action. So you're either going to worry yourself out of action, or you're going to say, despite the fear, I'm going to move forward always, right? At 10 calls in, she didn't like it. But at 39 calls in, she's like, you know what? I got myself a groove. I'm getting really good. I'm getting into really good conversations. And so if she wouldn't have committed to actually doing the work, then she would have never had those results. Cece, really good stuff. All right, I need another bold person to answer this question. What did you do this week that made you uncomfortable? Whether that was a video, whether that was a litigious conversation, what was one thing that you did this week that made you uncomfortable? And listen, I'm going to pause there for a quick moment. We know who the usual suspects are. If you have never raised your hand, you've never got involved in the conversation, or you are new to the call, I want you to grab the mic and say something. So I'll give you guys 5 seconds. Who's going to go on the mic next? 4, 3. Let's go, Matthew. How you doing, big dog?
Good. How about you?
I'm good, man.
Good. I actually took a listing appointment with somebody. It was the first time dealing with a family who had their father pass away. So that was the first listing appointment dealing with a death. And I handled it differently than I normally would have handled it. I brought my laptop with me. I went through the comps in real time with them, with the photos up on the computer, pointing everything out so they really understood. Because they had shared with me the repass was just the day previously before the listing appointment. So I knew it was a touchy situation walking into there. That's what made it uncomfortable for me, knowing that was just the last 2 or 3 days. And I knew that listing appointment was everything. I'm either getting it or I'm not, based on how I handled that situation.
Wow, man. Well, I take it went well for you and went well for them.
Yes, I got the listing.
Congratulations, my man. What market do you serve?
Thank you. I'm in Toms River, New Jersey.
Okay, very cool, very cool. My East Coast brother, man. Well, welcome. Have we met face to face before?
No, we haven't. Actually, my buddy Ross was the one who told me to hop on the phone call.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you being here, my man. I have just an affinity towards the East Coast. My grandmother was from Hoboken, grandfather was from Brooklyn. So, my man, you are in good company. Good to have you here. I appreciate you sharing. This is a question for everybody. What I want you to do is I want you to be clear with your answer. Which action did you take this week that directly touched revenue? And let me elaborate on that question. Was it a listing conversation? Was it a listing presentation? Was it a buyer consult? Was it a follow-up? Was it a nurture call that you made and they finally are willing to get off the fence? Was it your prospecting calls? What action did you take that directly touched revenue? You see, we could get busy doing a lot of things that do not move the needle in this business. And when you look back, you're like, damn, did I even have an appointment this week? Did I do something that actually touched revenue? So I want you guys to write yours down. I'll come back to that in a minute, but what action directly touched revenue this week? And I want you to be clear on that answer. And let's continue on. Where did you apply repetition instead of creativity? And did consistency outperform cleverness? The reason I want to stay here for a quick minute is because it's easy to get distracted by the sexy things and try a bunch of things and try to be like overly creative because you heard that this might work. Listen, you guys, this business can be very, very boring. And you have to be okay with that repetitious boredom. It's not always about doing all the new fancy things, but where did you apply repetition instead of creativity? Repetition is every single day I clean my database. I worked every single lead. I cleaned every single lead. And also I put future task in all the leads because I'm only human and I'm going to forget things. versus me just trying to be clever and try new things? I want to ask one person to answer that question. Where did you apply repetition instead of creativity? Who's got an answer for me? And once again, let's try to get the hands that have not been up. Who's got an answer for me? Where did you apply repetition versus creativity and cleverness? Who's got an answer for me? Don't be shy, or else I'm just going to start calling on people. Stre, you are up. Okay. And then Tanner, Tanner, we'll go our guest first, Tanner, and then we'll go Stre. So Tanner, what do you got for me, big dog?
I've just been going through my prospecting list and just hitting people as many times as I can and trying to stay in cadence. So, and the one thing I've been trying to do is mix up my messaging too, like trying to leave more voicemails, send an email, send a text message, and kind of like the 4-to-1 thing that you were talking about. Cause I'm like, all right, and I'm talking to Cassie and Lauren here, and it's like, I need to do something different because I'm repeating all this stuff, but you got to add some like variation into it too. So it's not super creative. It's not anything that's, taking an extra step. It's just sending it there. And then, I like to get my weekly emails. So your name stays in front of these people, because not everybody in your database is going to want to talk to you all the time or is going to need something every day, but you need to be the authority for them. So keeping that in front of them, I think just the repetition is like the easiest thing I can try to do every day that doesn't take too much attention or energy.
Yeah, well said, my friend. Welcome. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here. Let's go today. Where did repetition show up in your business this week? Let's roll.
Well, for me, it is after showing properties with the Zillow leads. And usually I check in with them at the end, and I'm constantly repeating myself like, okay, so this is the next step. I usually go over the buyer consultation. I'm available this day. What day are you guys available? And usually that it has been working for the last 2 weeks, and I was able to book at least 4 to 5 buyer consultation. But for some reason, I haven't had the buyers show up, which is okay. I think it's just part of the process. I just have to continue doing it more and more until somebody actually show up. And that's.
Yeah, so the fact that you're doing that and then people are not showing up. So what we'll do is you and I, and get on my calendar, let's analyze what that looks like. What is the language? What did you send them? Are they getting a questionnaire so they can fill out, so you're even more equipped and ready to answer those questions? So sometimes it's just small little tweaks, right? Are we confirming the appointment or are we affirming the appointment? And that's two separate styles of language. So the fact that you're getting them to commit, cool, let's get them to the Met and get on my calendar. That's something I definitely can help you with, but love the courage. I love what you're doing, and I appreciate both of your contributions. So let's go here. This is a powerful question. And let me pause for a quick second. Ross, let me go to you really quick, big dog, before I move on. Let's roll. You're muted.
I was just going to say, posting in the stories is a pretty easy way to be repetitive, and you don't really need to be super creative, and people can see what's going on in your day and they can chime in with you, and it kind of keeps that communication open.
That's right, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for throwing your hand up. All right. So I want you to put yourself in this position right now. If someone copied your exact actions from this week, right? We're all in a position to bring people to this amazing company, to share with them the light of this business, give them the opportunity, put them on, right? If someone copied your exact actions from this week, what result would they statistically earn? Would they earn themselves an opportunity to book appointments? Would they get a buyer consultation? Would they have visibility on social media? Or does your blueprint that they copied you from this week get them nowhere? Get them nowhere even remotely close to having an in-person appointment or Zoom appointment. Ask yourself that. And I think that this is a really, really reflective question. Like, if someone copied your roadmap today, they just followed along with what you did this week, what result would they statistically earn? That, my friends, is a really, really powerful question. So you sit with that one. You ask yourself, and then you're either going to be like, oh, shoot, that's going to put them in the best position to win. This is exciting. I did a lot of things. I knocked on 50 doors, whatever it is. Yeah, heck yeah, follow that blueprint. Or, sorry, man. Sorry, I let you down. I gave my blueprint for the week and it sucked. That's on you guys. If someone copied your exact actions from this week, what result would they statistically earn? God, that one lands for me, guys. I hope it lands for you as well. Let's continue cruising on. Sorry, not this one. Not that one. Let me go to another one. Sorry, I forgot to hide this. Okay. So I want to go here, and I'm going to go here, pull this up on the screen. The cost of inaction. We've talked about this before. The cost of inaction. When you going back to a 9 to 5, you not being able to pay your bills, you having to borrow money, you feeling the financial stress, the burden, the worry, the fear, right? Like, what's the cost of inaction for you? And the nightmare that you are unwilling to live, right? The nightmare is not having an opportunity to impact. The nightmare is going back to an industry where maybe I don't feel like my voice is heard. I don't have an ability to brand myself. I don't have freedom. I don't have financial opportunities for me and my family. I can't go to cool places and meet cool people and be in masterminds and build a community, right? All these things. I can't be a part of fast real estate. All these things, you guys, that's a nightmare that I am unwilling to live. And so my question to you as we come full circle on today's coaching session is simply this. Are you okay with not having an escrow today? If you don't have an escrow and you don't have anything that is a resemblance of an escrow, are you okay with that? And if not, excuse my language to our guests, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Like, if you are not okay with that, right? If that makes you sick in your stomach, and once again, that's a nightmare that you are unwilling to live, then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be able to put yourself in a position and say, you know what? No more excuses. No more slowing down. No more procrastinating. Like, if you're not okay with not having an escrow right now, then you've got to change that, my friends. You've got to do it. Go into your database, knock the doors, host the open house, drop the content. Even if it's shitty content, it's better than the content that somebody else did not drop. But you have to be doing the work, be willing to do the work. And you have to look at it, it's like, that's a nightmare. I don't want to live that. And my hope is that you are not okay if you do not have an escrow, that pisses you off, that fires you up. And if you're okay with not having an escrow and you're okay with not doing the activities to get an escrow, then you need to have a very, very long talk with yourself and have a look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you in the right industry? And I say that with all the love, care, compassion, and consideration in the world. But you have to ask yourself that hard question. If that doesn't eat you up, and you're not willing to do something about it, then you need to take a very, very hard look at your chosen profession. Gary Archer, what do you have for us? Deep Bledsoe, let you be on deck. What do we got, big dog?
I want to speak on the consistency, what you're saying. I don't know if everyone remembers, but right around Christmas time, I door knocked my neighborhood, the Jackson Triangle, with the Santa Claus flyers, right? And this week as well, I made new flyers and was knocking doors. So not only did I meet new people, but 3 people, when I say 3 people that were driving by that live in the neighborhood, seen me knocking doors, and they pulled over and said, hey, you're the guy that dropped off the Santa Claus flyer, right? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, wow, you're really out here trying to get it. I said, this is my neighborhood. I said, man, the last thing I wanted to happen is my neighbors to sell their house online with some out of state or out of area agent. I'm just trying to, support. And they're like, man, I got some, the conversation turned into, where now they're trying to act like they have a bunch of leads for me. But whatever it was great conversation, right? So the consistency, just like Bledsoe says, outside every day, now is like, they see him hang up a flyer and like, whoa, were you in my neighborhood? And he's like, yeah, I was there. Now when clients see that, they're like, I would never do something like that. This guy's a worker. Oh my God. You know what I mean? So they now they try to find a way to align yourself with it. It's kind of like someone you see is in shape and you're trying to get in shape. You're like, you start asking them questions like, hey man, what's the first thing I should do? Right? Stuff like that. And I just think the consistency breeds familiarity, which familiarity brings synergy, and synergy wins games.
Good stuff, Gary Archer. Appreciate that. Listen, you guys, if you don't have the business and if you're not okay with not having an escrow and that to you feels like a nightmare, which it should, then you need to go out there and do something about it. And if you go out door knocking, 3 things are going to happen. You're either going to get rejected, which is part of the game. Welcome to sales. 2, you're going to data mine. You're going to get some information about that neighborhood or about the neighbor that's thinking about moving or what happens in that neighborhood. Or you actually can book an appointment for a listing presentation, right? So that opportunity serves you. If you get the rejection, you're going to learn. You get the appointment, wonderful. And then you get the information that you can follow up later in the future. So good stuff, Gary. Let's go to Deep Bledsoe. What do you have for us, big dog?
I just wanted to offer this piece. I've been getting more consistent at mixing it up. Like I've been present on socials very consistently over the past few years, gotten some leads from that. I want more. So I was like, how can I mix this up? We had an agent on the team, Joellen, who told us about her success from the Nextdoor app. So I've moved a lot of my content that I post on Instagram over to Nextdoor. My girls have volunteered in painting a intersection over the weekend, over the 3-day weekend in our neighborhood. And so I made a post about that, not only on Instagram, but I took it over to LinkedIn and Nextdoor. It's got like 200 likes on Nextdoor, which is crazy for that app because people don't really engage that much. But people have also been commenting of, oh, now we can put a face to who we've been seeing on the telephone poles around the neighborhood, because they either wash away, people rip them down, or the wind blows them away. So I've been consistently in my neighborhood over the past, I guess, like 6 months now, replacing these signs so they keep seeing my face, because listings show up in my neighborhood and I'm mad that I'm not in these conversations and getting these appointments. But now these people are like, oh, you're our neighbor. Oh, we seen you out there doing the work, not just on the telephone pole. So that's cool to have that presence and seeing that consistency actually working and people noticing. Mm-hmm. But then as well, this past Tuesday, there was a party at the Claremont that people, members of the Recording Academy were invited to for the Grammy nominations celebration. And none of my buddies are on the Recording Academy. And so unlike things that I actually would do, I went by myself and got dressed up, showed up by myself, and I said, I'm just gonna go and see what happens. I took my book in there with me. So when I stopped greeting all the people that I knew in the room. I stood in a corner and I read my book. Like 10 people came up to me while I'm reading this book, Destiny, Discipline is Destiny. And they're asking me what I'm reading. Yeah, they're asking what I'm reading, and struck up conversation with me, which once I start talking to people, I'm more than fine. But I do need things to cut through the awkward silence and moments, and reading is a perfect thing for me. So big tall guy in the corner reading a book in a party full of people drinking, and I'm on dry January, so I'm not even drinking. It opened up all kinds of doors and conversations. So I'm talking to people not only about music, but I really joined the Recording Academy to get more people involved in my volunteering sessions. And so I'm talking about real estate as well. I'm like, yeah, I'm here, not really on behalf of my music. I'm doing this community thing, but I'm also a realtor. So I'm having real estate conversations. But all that to say, just get into the rooms, make yourself uncomfortable, because other people are too, but they want to know what's up with you. They want to talk to you. So just get in those rooms.
I love this. I love this. Listen, you guys, I appreciate everyone's contribution today. Remember, after this call, I want to push you to go into your database and clean up your database. Do a 4-to-1. And then I want you to analyze this, and you're going to find nuances. Analyze every single nuance, from when you ask for an appointment in person, where are your shoulders, where's your head, where's your chest, how is your posture, right? Does that say, I want to book an appointment with that girl, I want to book an appointment with that guy? When you think about your checking in, is your language timid? Is it soft? Or do you have an authoritative type of language that is moving people through the sales funnel? I want you guys to analyze your written communication, your verbal communication, your body language, your posture. And I promise you, if we can restore the dignity of being great salespeople, each of you on this screen, will make more money. I promise you that is not a theory that has been market tested, and I know from personal experience. So as we close out, Kenny, any parting words before we close out? Something good, something powerful, anything from you, my man?
I'll say be cringe. That applies to being, showing up on social and not really worrying about what people think of you. And then, being cringe with your clients. Like, you need to do all the actions we talked about today instead of worrying how you look, versus like thinking with, your client first and providing value.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, you guys, have some fun with it. Go in and analyze yourself. Take note, be reflective, look at what's going on and be like, wow, I am so like beating around the bush about things. I'm really sissy-footing around asking for an appointment. Look at the analytics, ask for an appointment, and then work backwards with the objections that they give you. I promise you guys, if you can do that, you're going to have more fun, make more money, and you're going to be more intentional. So have an amazing day. If you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. As always, my friends, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and make today a day that truly matters. Peace, my friends.